Thank you for joining us in the throes of summer here. It was a stark reminder today as we were sitting in our offices and heard the bellowing voice of one coach, Mark Schmidt, out on the floor. That was a quick reminder to all of us that just around the corner, this baby's going to be real again. And even though we aren't even in the end of June, kids are still in school around here. I think today was their last day. We're prepping for next year, obviously, but thank you for taking part. A couple of housekeeping things. The main one would be if you're on and while we're discussing things, if you could mute yourself for any ambient noise to keep things under control there, that would be great. I know that can be difficult for some of the people who are just on phone, but that would assist in us being able to effectively get through this. We'll keep it right to an hour, but we have plenty to go through. I'm sorry to say that new AD Bob Beretta will not be able to join us tonight. He was in town doing some quick searching for homes and getting some things lined up. And so he's in commutation back to Syracuse, so he won't be able to join us. But I'm sure we're going to have plenty of information to cue you in on what's going on here. And we'll be unveiling a lot of things throughout the course of the hour. So look forward to things. Steve?
All right. Well, thank you, Sean. End of May equals the end of our fiscal year at St. Bonaventure. And Sean and I wanted to take a few minutes just to kind of run down how we did not only this year, but a snapshot look back for the Six-Man Club, for all of you, how it's gone the last 5 years. And so we have some data to share with you. Take a look at that here as I pull that up. So can everybody see that okay, Sean? Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So for this year, FY24, we finished with a grand total of $859,000 from 55 members. So the first graph here takes a look at the membership over the last 5 years. We've obviously worked hard at growing the base, talked to all of you about assisting with that effort, and people have really responded and stepped up to the plate to help us in that regard. Obviously, growing the membership grows the ability for us to raise funds at the same time. So take a look at that and how we've grown. We've been in the 50s, as I said, the last 2 fiscal years, 52 a year ago, 55 in the fiscal year that just finished. So from a growth standpoint, things have certainly moved in the right in that regard. And then we'll take a look at the dollars raised. As I said, this year we've set a new record, and you can see the growth there really over the last 4 years, consistent growth, big jump last year, and then 2 years ago rather, and then last year, this year that just finished, getting us almost to 860,000, which was $175,000 more than the prior year. So the growth has been substantial, and that's all, thanks to all of you. Obviously, that's the first and foremost. We want to share that information with you so you can see how things have gone. It's obviously critical to Mark, to the team, to the program, to continue this so they can be as competitive as possible in the Atlantic 10. So we at least want to be as transparent as possible with you, show you that information. I'm happy to send that out. I think we probably should, to share with the people who were not able to join on the call tonight. But Mark, do you want to say a few words about that?
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I think I've said this before. When I first started in 2007, I think we had 11 six-man members, and I think only 4 or 5 were given. And that was, I think it was at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, I think it was $5,000.
It was.
So, so you're talking about, in 2007, 2008, we had $20,000 in the six-man. That went from $20,000 in whatever 17 years to 800,000. So I can't be more thankful, appreciative of what you guys have done. We couldn't do what we do without this money. As you guys know, the budget that we have is not, we can't do it with that. We need to do it with the money that you guys give us. Chartered flights, extra food for the guys, staying in better hotels. All that is essential to having success. In terms of the chartered flights, in terms of getting rest, and in terms of recruiting, where we can sell these recruits on how we travel. You know, if we tell them, hey, we take buses like we did our first 3 or 4 years, or we commercial, that's not going to be a selling point for us. We got to, stay up with the Joneses, and, and you guys have done a terrific job of allowing us to be competitive in the transportation area, in particular. So thanks so much.
Guys, in concert with that, obviously, huge thanks goes to you for those that have been able to assist us, have helped cultivate new members, additional people for us to pursue. We would encourage you to continue to do that. Obviously, this serves an unbelievably important purpose, and as Mark states, literally buys victories. But we realize that that's a challenged pool. People are getting pulled in a lot of different directions, and I can comfortably say that we're working cooperatively with the collective, and our membership has not been hindered in any way, shape, or form. And I know a lot of you guys are supporting the collective as well, which is extremely appreciated on that level. It's a landscape of the future that's right in front of us, and we've got to address it. But while that's been going on, we've been able to achieve record-setting success from our side, and that's directly relative to what you guys have done. Some stuff within the club. This past year, I had sent out a survey that was requesting some information for a directory and a recognition board. You're going to get a reminder on that. Obviously, we've had some leadership changes here at the major level on a major level at the university, and we're going to be revisiting that. I'm going to be sussing through that information and checking with individuals that we have information on. If I don't have information, I'll be reaching out to you individually to check and see if you want to have it included. The directory is going to be something that will be internal, only available to our membership. It'll be a brief descriptive just so we can put faces with names. And so we get on these Zooms and everybody knows where everybody's from and where they came from, graduating, so on and so forth. In addition to that, something that was extremely successful last year was us asking for pledges and trying to have a fiscal budget with our situation. It's fiscal year monies that are operable. We're not raising for the future, we're raising for the current. And to have a solid idea of what we're going to be working with early on is obviously a positive and desirable from our side, and especially our budget officers and accountants within the university. So you will be getting an ask again for that aspect of it, to give us an idea of what level you're going to be coming in, so that we can obviously budget effectively. But again, thank you very much in the sense of what we've been able to accomplish here. It's not possible. 55 people, over $850,000 is directly relative to your belief in Mark and the program and the university as a whole. I think we're going to dive into a little team information at this point. So Steve.
Yeah, so the rest of the agenda, just give you a little preview. We're going to talk about the roster. Obviously, a lot of new faces, and have Coach Schmidt walk through the new guys on the team, and we have little snapshots of each of their bios. We're going to look at the schedule, which if you follow social media, you probably know most of that already, but we'll take a look at what we have under contract to this point. And then talk about the summer development, the players being on campus, and what's going on campus right now. As Sean alluded to, there's a lot of bouncing balls in the Riley Center every day, which is great to hear. So we'll jump right into taking a look at the team. 9 new players. And Coach, why don't we start? We'll just start with, these are not in any particular order, but just kind of give us a rundown on all these guys, starting with Jackson Edwards.
Thanks, Steve. Jackson is a kid that we recruited out of high school. He went to a Catholic school in Indianapolis, and we lost out to Murray State. He went to Murray State for a year, didn't play a lot, and then he transferred to Valpo, and he's a 6'6", really athletic, scoring 3-man, can really rebound the ball, can really defend. I've been really, it's funny when you recruit a kid, and back in whatever 2021, you don't realize in 2 or 3 years how much bigger and more physical a kid gets. When we recruited Jackson, I remember him just being, you know, a 6'5", 6'6", really skinny, lanky kid. And then he comes on his visit, you know, and now he's got muscles, you know. So he's a guy that's really going to be an effective player for us. He can guard, he can rebound. You know, one of the deficiencies was shooting the ball, and that's what we've been working on since he's been here, you know, in May. So I think you'll really enjoy him. Really good kid, smart, and somebody that is really, really athletic, and someone that can really, really guard. So we're excited, and you know, he's got 2 years with us, and maybe 3 because he didn't play a lot his freshman year at Murray State. So that will be something that we can petition the NCAA once his eligibility is up. So we're excited about Jackson and what he can bring to our team.
I should have mentioned right off the top, we will talk about the returning players, the 3 returners, at the end of this, but I wanted to jump right into the new guys on the roster. So Chance Moore.
Chance is similar to Jackson, a little bit lankier, a little bit longer. You know, went to Arkansas for a year, transferred to Missouri State. You know, he averaged, I think, 10 and 7 at Missouri State. He's got 1 more year and maybe 2, you know, trying to petition the NCAA again. But really long, athletic, open court. Really, if he was a track star, he'd be like a 400-meter runner. Long strides, really, really athletic. You know, working on his jump shot a little bit, but somebody that he can play both the 3 and the 4. When we go small, we can make him a 4-man, just like we did with like a Courtney Stockard. But really long, really athletic. Something that we didn't have last year. And one of the deficiencies of our team, we didn't have a lot of length. And we tried to go out and try to find guys that are athletic, that are long, that can play better defense in the half court, get more deflections. And I think Chance is that type of kid that can, you know, open court, steals, getting offense off of our defense. We're really excited about Chance, and, you know, hopefully we can get him for a second year. But, you know, for this year, someone that we're expecting to come in and really be a force for us.
Asante Bowen, point guard.
Asante, you know, is a Boston guy, so he's got to be a good guy. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but the Celtics won the NBA championship this year. Just wanted to get that in. But Asante, you know, we recruited him out of high school. He's a BABC kid, which is one of the big AAU organizations in Boston. You know, he went to prep school. You know, a very good prep school up in New England, Brewster Academy, which usually has, you know, 8, 9, 10 Division I players every year. Went to Iowa. You know, had you know, played 12 minutes a game there. And I talked to, you know, Coach McCaffrey is a friend of mine, big Coaches versus Cancer guy. And when I saw him out at Oak Hill, I asked him, you know, what'd you think? And he thinks he's going to be really good for us. A point guard, can really push it, really defends, quick, can shoot the ball. You know, he averaged 4 points and 2 assists at Iowa, and hopefully that can translate into, you know, someone that's averaging double digits and, you know, 4 or 5 assists. But really a smart player, really knows how to play, can play in a ball screen. So we're really excited. You know, he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot for us, running, you know, all the stuff that we run. But he's got a really high IQ for the game, and that's what we need in a point guard.
Back to the forward group, Leger Jones.
Yeah, Leger Jones is a kid who went to Tarleton State. He's from Jacksonville. Went to Tarleton State for a year. Played for Billy Gillespie, who was the former coach at Kentucky. Transferred and he had a really good year at Tarleton. Transferred to Barton Community College in Kansas. You know, they were, I think, 31-1. They won the junior college national championship. He was the MVP of the national tournament. Every year I go out to Hutchinson, Kansas to watch the national tournament. And that's where we got, remember, Jonathan Hall back in 2008 and Ogo Adebayo. We always get somebody out of there. And, you know, when I went to see, and we're going out there, don't really know who we're recruiting. I just go out there and watch. And Leger just, you know, jumped off the screen. He was really, left-handed, can play both inside and out, can shoot the ball, can take guys off the dribble, can defend multiple positions. He's going to be a really good player. Someone that is going to be able to score the ball, is going to be able to rebound the ball. In the championship game, I think he had 15 and 13. So he's a talented kid that has 2 years with us. Somebody we feel is going to be a really good Atlantic 10 player.
Jonah Hinton, back to the
Jonah Hinton,
backboard.
same thing. He was out at Hutch. He's from Chicago, it's funny, he was a guy that really matured physically late. He was like 140 pounds coming out of high school, and he went to a Division II team, Division II school, and he redshirted and then transferred to Panola Junior College, was another school in Texas. Had a great year. I saw him out in Hutch, really can shoot the ball. He's a combo guard. He can play both the 2 and the 1, which I like. Average 14 points a game, three assists, 2 rebounds. He can really shoot the ball. He's gotten much stronger. He's 185 pounds. He really did a great job in the weight room in his 2 years, before he got to us. But he's quick. He's athletic. He can guard and he can score the basketball. So, and he can play, both the 1 and the 2 for us.
Melvin Council.
Melvin, we recruited him out of high school. And then he went to Monroe Community College for 2 years. We recruited him again. He ended up going to Wagner. He was a first-team All-League player in Northeast Conference. And we've had a lot of success. Matt Mobley came out of the NEC. And he's a 2-1-3. He can play multiple positions. He can really score, really athletic, has a really good feel for the game. We're excited about Melvin. He's an energy guy. He's a natural leader. He's somebody that, is not afraid to have the ball in his hands at the end of the shot clock. He has 1 year with us. He graduated. He has 1 year, and we're really excited about having Melvin. Great kid, been through some adversity, and he's just he wants to have a great year, and we're excited about his potential and his ability to really score the basketball for us.
Ibrahim Kaba.
Kaba is a great kid. Socially, talks to anybody. He's a freshman. He went to the Petty School, which I think costs more money than going to Bonaventure. It's a better campus than Bonaventure. When I walked on the campus, I'm like, holy Christ, look at this place. But really can score. We saw him in an AAU prep school tournament in July, and really liked him. He's 6'7", strong, really can shoot the ball. Still got to, get stronger. He's got to learn how to play, but the one thing he can do is he can really shoot the basketball. He's got a great form on his shot, shoots it from 25 feet. He's going to be a good player. I'm not sure, how much he'll play this year, but down the road, he's got a ton of potential. It came down to us in Richmond for him, and, he liked the small school and, the relationships that were built here. So we're excited about Kaba. He doesn't go by Ibrahim, he goes by Kaba. But we're excited about him. He's a really good kid, and he's going to represent our program the right way.
Sticking with the front court, Michael Falarin.
Yeah, Michael is 6'11". He's from London. He went to Eastern Washington, and then he transferred to Nevada. Played there for a year, but got hurt. He only played, I think, 2 games. Hurt his knee. Things didn't go the way they were planned. He had some difficulties there with the coaching staff, I guess. And he transferred to Salt Lake Community College, which is in Utah. And he was another guy that was out at Hutch, really athletic. He's probably the best athlete we got. Big bounce, he can block shots. He can run the court. You see average 8 points and close to 6 rebounds. And that's really good for a 5-man in the junior college ranks, because 5-men usually don't get the ball. But someone that can really run the court like a deer. He's going to be good. With Noel returning, Michael's going to have a chance not to have to go in there and play 30 minutes a game. But he's going to be a guy that can really do some stuff on the defensive end, blocking shots, really do a good job of running the court, dunks, lobs, and someone I think can run out, 5-out offense. So looking forward to working with Michael. He came up, he just started, 2 weeks ago. So we're in the middle of trying to evaluate him.
All right, and last but not least, just the most recent signing, Xander Weatherly.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Neal. This kid is, when Sean came to me and showed me tape on this kid, I'm like, where'd you find this kid? It's really late. We signed him, a week and a half ago, and he was going to go to a prep school. He visited DePaul early, visited some of the MAC schools, but he just waited, and then decided he was going to go to prep school, and then Sean somehow just stayed on him, and we got a visit out of him, and I'm telling you what, he was really impressive in the workout that we had for him. He played with our guys, and usually when a kid, especially a freshman, comes in and plays with our guys, it doesn't necessarily go too well. They're overwhelmed, the speed of the game, the physicality of the game. But I'm telling you what, watching him play in open gym, you couldn't tell the difference between him and anybody else. He really played well. He's got huge hands. He got like not that he's Andrew Nicholson, but he's got Andrew Nicholson hands, massive hands. And, I think he's 6'9", he's got no hair on his face. I think he's going to grow, but he can shoot the ball. He can score inside. He's got a big body. He's 6'9", 230 pounds as a freshman. And, he was ranked 6th in the state of Michigan, so I think we got a gem. I think we've got somebody that a lot of people missed on, and, good kid, went to a charter school out in Detroit. So we got somebody I think is going to be a guy that's going to have a really good career for us.
You just mentioned Coach Noel Brown, and we'd be remiss. I don't know if everybody's aware. Unfortunately, Noel's mom, Kim, passed away not too long ago after a fight with cancer. So we want to remember her tonight, and remember Noel and his family. They've been through a tough time. Noel's an awesome kid to be around. If anybody has had the opportunity to do so, and if you haven't, get a chance to meet him. But Mark, if you could talk a little bit about Noel.
Yeah, Noel is one. I've done this a long time. He's one of the best kids I've ever coached. A great leader, just a good guy. Very religious. From a good family, and his mother got ovarian cancer like 10 months ago, and Noel played all last year, knowing that his mother wasn't doing well. She was in Johns Hopkins, and and he had meetings with our players where he spoke about his mother and the impact she had in his life, and for Noel to be able to go through what he went through and have the year that he had. I know you guys watched. At the end of the year, he was our best 5-man that we had, and he was going through those struggles, which it's just unimaginable. And she passed the Friday. No, he went home. He didn't take finals. He went home, and he spent 20 days with her in the hospital, and she passed, and he stayed home for the first summer session. We had celebrations of life in Virginia. Then they took her body down to Miami because that was where she was from or grew up as a girl. So it's been tough on Noel, but he came back last night. My son picked him up at the airport, and he was at practice today, and with a smile on his face. So we're excited about Noel, and now that that's over with, it's he can concentrate a little bit more and as he say, have a year for his mother. So we're excited about Noel. You couldn't have a better kid, and a better teammate, and a better player that you can coach. So excited, and he'll be the captain of the team, and he's the leader of our team.
And then Mark, the last two, the two guys that redshirted this past season, obviously been a part of the team, but haven't seen them in action. And what do you expect from
it's
Thompson and Miles Rose?
Both those guys redshirted. Both those guys, practiced every day. Lifted weights, did everything our guys did. They just didn't play. Miles played one game. So Dwayne is 6'7", 4-man, can shoot the ball. I think last year was a big year for him, trying to get in better shape. You know, I think he was like a chubby kid, you know, as a kid, and he's still losing his baby fat, but loves to play. He's got very good skills. You know, he's got to deal with adversity a little bit better, just like a lot of young guys have to do. But we're expecting him to be someone that's going to be in the fold, that's going to play some minutes for us. He can score. He's not the best athlete, but he can put the ball in the basket. And he has he's one of those guys that's not great in individual instruction or development stuff, but he can really play. Some guys are good in individuals and they stink in 5-on-5, but he's just the opposite. Not very good in individuals, but he can really play. And Miles Rose is a 2 guard. Both those guys went to Putnam Science, where we've gotten a lot of guys out of. Miles is strong. You know, his jump shot was what was a negative. He's worked on that. His body has changed. He's a physical guy. He can really defend. He's a 2-3 type of guy. Great kid, and we're expecting him to be able to help us this year as well.
I know that's a ton of information we just threw at everybody, so I'll just
We're gonna have a
open it up
test
this
now.
one for-
We're gonna have a test.
Yeah, we're gonna have a quiz. Any questions for Coach on anybody individually, the roster as a whole, now that it's pretty much set?
I lost track of how many players you just showed us. What is the number with the returning players and the new recruits?
We graduated 3 guys. And then, as you guys know, Chad had another year and he put his name in the portal, went to Boston College. So and then we lost 5 guys in the portal. So we have 3 returning guys, Noel, Dwayne, and Miles. And then we brought in 9 guys. All right. We brought in 2 guys that have 1 year of eligibility left, 3 guys with 2 years of eligibility left, 1 guy with 3, and 2 freshmen. So we don't want to bring in a lot of freshmen. You know, I probably said this when I was in Rochester. It's like, you don't win with freshmen. And, you know, freshmen can help you win some games, but they're not going to take you to the Atlantic 10 finals. They're not going to take you to the NCAA tournament. So if they're any good and they help you, they'll leave in the next year. So you only have them for 1 year, right? Or you take a couple and you redshirt them. But if they have a good year, they're gone. You know, so you win in the college basketball landscape of today. You win being old, right? You can't win with freshmen, right? You got to win with juniors and seniors. And the hope is when you get juniors and especially seniors, they only have 1 year, so they're desperate. But those juniors, the hope is that they have a really good experience at Bonaventure and they stay for their senior year, right? That's the hope. That's the hope. But getting freshmen, you know, they're just, and you know, as a freshman, they're not getting paid a lot of money, you know, so it's, if they have a good year, they're looking for that paycheck. So we try to bring in guys that, as I say in every talk that I take or that I make, like we're not gonna substitute a good player who's a bad kid, right? That's not going to happen. We're still going to do it the right way. We're still going to recruit the kids that we feel are going to represent the university in the right way, the kids that are going to go to class. But we've got to be a part of this portal. If we're not a part of the portal, we have no chance of being successful in today's world of college athletics. You've got to be old. You've got to be able to bring guys in, and you don't build programs anymore. You just build a team for each year. You know, the hope was that, you know, all those guys that left last year, that they all stayed, you know, but that's not how it works. And you know, as they leave, we go into the portal and we pull guys from other teams and guys that we feel fit what we're trying to do, you know, academically and basketball and socially, and guys that are trying to fit, you know, how we play. And a number of these guys we've seen play in high school or in junior college. So it's not like we just have watched 5 minutes of tape and said, all right, let's take that guy. You know, like my guys went out this past weekend to all these AAU events, and we don't know what we need because we don't know who's going to be back next year. So we're just going out to see kids. So in a year from now or 2 years from now, when they go to Arkansas and they decide they put their name in the portal, we've seen them, you know, so it's almost like going to evaluate kids in the hope that they're going to put their name in the portal in a year or so, and we have relationships with them. That's how it's different. Like in the past, we would be out and we'd be recruiting these kids. Have already talked to them on the phone, talked to their parents, and going out, and now we're really evaluating them to try to get them to campus in September. That's all changed now. You know, we'll bring very few kids in, if any, in the early signing period. You know, everything will be done in the late signing period in terms of the portal, or, you know, somebody that we saw this July or June or July.
Hey, I just want to tell a quick story about these kids. Coach and Sattler, a lot of you guys probably saw the link. Had a great conversation alumni weekend. A couple of us on this call were there. About 3/4 of the way through, several of these kids that Mark just took us through came in and sat in the back row. And then Mark brought them down in front. There might have been 150, 200 people there. And it was an unusual situation for these kids, but they stood there, they introduced themselves, they looked everybody in the eye. People were shouting questions at them, which was a little weird. They handled it really well. A bunch of people came down, wanted to take photos. They all stood there. They were really great, you know, and it was an unusual situation for them. You got a good sense of who they were as people. I went there and introduced myself to a lot of them. And at some point, people stopped coming up for photos, and they were just stood there waiting to be excused. I said, "You guys don't want to be here anymore, right?" They said, "No." I said, "You're excused." But they were really great. You could tell they were handling themselves very well. Listen, Mark, you just took us through everybody. They all can play to some degree. I don't know how deep you'll go this year. You don't know that yet. But what you just said about getting the kind of kids we can be proud of to wear the uniform, it seemed pretty obvious in that moment.
Yeah, I think we do. You know, knock on wood, you never know. You know, you try to do as much homework as you can, but like those kids, you know, they were asked to come, but they had no idea that I was going to bring them down in front of you, in front of all the alums, and them start asking questions. I thought they handled themselves really well, and and I think it shows the type of kids that we have, and that's what we're going to try to do. You know, just like we've done in the last 17 years, is bring in guys that are good basketball players, but kids that are going to represent the school, the alums, and represent me the right way. You know, and I think we've done that. I hope.
Well, now that we've met the new Bonnies, let's see where the new Bonnies are going to be competing. So Steve's going to scroll down here and show our contracted non-conference schedule to this point. Mark, any in particular you want to jump over here? I know we've got people on phone, so I'll go.
Where's I want to see the Alfred. Giannini, where's Alfred? Where's my exhibition game against Alfred? And we played Alfred for like 10 years.
I don't do the schedule, but yeah, where are they?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's disrespectful to the Saxon.
Saxon Warriors.
Yeah, my fault.
Mark, jump in at any point, but November 5th, we're opening up with Cal State Northridge here at Bonus.
Yes, Cal State's coming here. They're playing, and I forgot, they're coming to the East Coast. They have some East Coast players, and they're coming to play somebody else, you know, and so I forgot, they might be playing Canisius. I'm not sure who they're playing. But they wanted another game, and you know, we thought, hey, what the heck? We start off with I don't even know where Cal State Northridge is. I know it's in California at Northridge, but I don't know where the hell Cal State Northridge is. But then, you know, against Canisius, and we lost, and the old timers they tell me all the time, you can't lose to Canisius. You can't lose to Canisius. And we've lost to Canisius 2 years in a row. So hopefully we won't lose the third time to Canisius. And then we go down to Florida Gulf Coast, and Florida Gulf Coast was a game that we were supposed to play last year. But they had some, I don't know what happened. They didn't want to play the game. So we're playing it now. And that's a good game, getting down to Florida, down into the Naples area where there's a lot of alums. That would be a good game for us. And then we play Lemoyne. I'm not sure who Beretta is going to be rooting for in that game. Hopefully it's the Bonnies. And then we got 2 home games that we're working on right now, and that should be done in the next couple of days. Then we go to Bucknell. We had a good game against them up at our place, well coached. And then Buffalo, another, you know, Big 4 team at our place. And then the Providence game is a really big game at Mohegan Sun. I think Fordham plays before us. So that's Providence is going to be a top 25 team. But I think it's a game where we can't lose. It's a game. If we win, it's a huge upset. If we lose, it's not going to hurt us in terms of the net. And then we go to Siena. Jerry McNamara is a new coach. We'll probably be playing some 2-3 zone, so we should work on a 2-3 offense, 2-3 zone offense. And then Niagara. Another little three, and we can't lose to Niagara either. So, our goal every year is to try to sweep the big four: Canisius, Niagara, and in Buffalo. So, and then we can't lose to the other Franciscan school, Siena. So, hopefully, we can go 4-0 against those guys.
Go ahead, Mark.
And then after the 21st, we go down to Disney World.
That's at Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. My fault. Yeah, the 28th and 29th of November. And you saw the teams: North Texas, Northern Iowa, and Utah State. Really good, mid-major plus schools. So that will be a great tournament, for people to come down for Thanksgiving and go to Disney World and then slide over to the Milk House and watch the Bunnies play 2 games. So we're excited about that tournament.
A couple of items within that. The Providence game on December 14th is going to serve for those that attended the Legends Classic last year in Brooklyn. That's going to serve as our 6-man gathering. People will come in from Friday to Sunday. The game's Saturday, and we'll have a schedule of events that'll take place around that.
I have a thing about that. What about if we have everybody go to the casino and the winnings go to NIL?
We can pose that. We can put that out to the masses. Absolutely.
That assumes you have good gamblers on this.
Remember, Mark, the house always wins. And the other event that's obviously going to get a lot of attention is the Thanksgiving games. We do not know yet. We believe that we might be Thanksgiving Day and Friday, but there's also a possibility it's not totally contracted. Finally, at this point, we possibly could be Wednesday and Friday. It's a 2-game series. The games are mentioned there. The teams are mentioned there. North Texas, Northern Iowa, Utah State, for those that are on phone calls. So that's the ESPN event down in Orlando.
And I think, Sean, that there's high major teams there too. It's just not us 4.
The other segment, the Wednesday, Friday segment, if we're into Tuesday, Thursday, are going to be 4 other teams that are high majors, correct?
Yeah. And some people ask us, why can't you play those high majors? And everything's changed in terms of scheduling. The high majors are trying to prevent us from playing them because of the net, and there's a lot of different reasons why. So it's been really, really difficult to get high major games. That's why the Providence game is such a big game for us. But I was talking to Chris Mooney down in the Atlantic 10 meetings, and on average, they played like 4 high majors a year since he's been there. They can't get any. It's been really, really difficult because the net is, a lot of the high majors are playing low major teams that they can annihilate. And if you can annihilate them by 20 points or higher, you get more points. And it's something that's wrong with the net, but people are using that. And so it's becoming much more difficult to get high major games.
For the Thanksgiving one, if individuals are entertaining going down to Disney for that segment, if you could drop me a note and just let me know, we'd like to take a poll, not knowing what kind of sampling we would have of people interested in going down there, as to whether it's worthwhile to have some events or if people of the holidays just too important and people stay back for that. If you could drop me a note if you have any intentions of entertaining going down there, that would greatly assist our cause. And then tomorrow, the pairings for the Atlantic 10 matchups will be released tomorrow, likely. So we'll have the matchups and who we're going to be playing.
Can I tell them that?
What's that?
Can I tell them who we're playing now?
I would imagine. If you feel comfortable in that, that's fine with me.
Yeah. The the teams that we're playing twice this year are the same teams that we played twice last year: VCU, Duquesne, Fordham, and UMass. Right, those are our teams that we play twice, and usually you play them 2 years, and then they flip the schedule to somebody else. There was some talk that we weren't going to play VCU, that we were going to play Richmond, but they came out today. Those are our partners. Those are the teams that we play twice, and then everybody that we played at home, we're going to play away. So Dayton, which is a big game, they'll be coming to our place this year.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that. Well, now that we've got the schedule buttoned down to what we have at the current moment, Steve, do you want to touch base segment?
Yeah, I just had, it's kind of previewed this at the beginning of the call. I just wanted to ask, Mark, talk a little bit about, this is kind of the way I look at it, is kind of year 2 of the new kind of summer, where you have a whole new crew coming in, basically, as you've talked about with the roster being basically new. How do you approach the summer? Is it vastly different than you did a year ago, 2 years ago, in terms of individual and then team development?
Yeah, it's much different. The last 2 years are much different than they have been. I'm not a big guy. There's a lot of, we can work our guys out for 8 weeks in the summertime. And it's 4 hours of basketball activity and 4 hours of strength and conditioning. So in the past, before this whole portal thing, we would just do individual skill development and strength and conditioning. And my opinion is, and I didn't do any of that, the assistants do all of that. I just sit up in the stands and watch, because I believe that the kids get tired of my voice, and I certainly get tired of them. And I just, so I need them listening to me in October, November, December, January, February, not June and July and August. So my assistants did everything in terms of the skill development, and Coach Fisk did all the, strength and conditioning. Now with this whole portal thing and having, a whole new team, it's like they need to hear my voice sooner. So what we do now is we'll go Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We'll do 2 hours of individual skill development. And then on Tuesday, and then so the schedule, we'll wake up, we have 7:45 breakfast. We have 8:30 to 9:30 study hall, because each one of them is taking one class. And then from 10 to 12 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we do skill development. And we'll, sometimes it's with 3 guys. Sometimes it's with one guy, if someone needs to work on his jump shot or some weakness. And it's always something to do with our offense, a dribble handoff or a ball screen or whatever. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll have a team practice, so instead of doing individuals, we'll practice for an hour. And most of that practice is trying to put in the basic offense and defense, some of the drills that we're going to do in September. What I don't want to do is, you start in September with a whole new team, and you start off, you're trying to teach drills rather than teaching basketball. You're teaching drills. So now in the summertime, we try to get all the drills out of the way. And so when we start in September, we can just say, all right, we're going to run Hamilton, and the kids know what Hamilton is. So it's really changed. It's much more me hands-on, for the 8 weeks. And then, once those 8 weeks go, they go home, for a month, and then they come back. We have the first day of school, we have a meeting, we have a strength and conditioning test, and then we start doing it again, 8 hours, 4 hours on the court and 4 hours in the weight room. So it's, the summertime is drastically changed. Now, some coaches will take those 8 weeks and they'll just practice those 4 hours. They won't do any individuals. But I'm, we're trying to do a little of both. So that's the big adjustment that we've made. And, it's in the past, as I said, when you have guys for 2 or 3 years, they get tired of you. So you want to get a break from them and them from you. But now it's, these guys this is the first time they've heard my voice, so it's totally different.
Mark, you may have touched on this. Is everybody back? Is everybody here right now?
Yeah, everybody's here. Yeah, because we didn't do, we did a lot of, in the first like 3 weeks, we did a lot of individual stuff because we didn't have a complete team. You know, Noel wasn't here, Xander wasn't here, Mike wasn't here. So it was hard for us to do team stuff without a whole team. But now, you know, they came in on Sunday. So we have 3 full weeks now of just team activities. And then we'll, you know, we bring them up to the Cuba Pond and, you know, we put them out in on the water and hopefully they don't drown. They'll be up here for the 4th of July and chicken wings and all that stuff. So and then you go bowling with the kids. You try to do some stuff off the court. And the problem, and I mentioned it to some of you guys before, the problem with Olean or Allegheny is there's not a lot to do for these kids. And so that's the scary part. You got them up here for 8 weeks and they're in Olean, New York. There's no students around. There's just, you know, the locals. And, you know, it's a little bit of a concern, but we try to keep them as busy as we can.
Well, we've got a little bit of time for some questions. If anybody's got any on the team schedule, anything above, anybody have anything for Mark? Come on.
Okay, good night.
Wow. You're
Sorry,
thorough.
how confident are you on this team?
You know something, it's way too early. I think we have good players, guys that I think fit what we're trying to do. But as you guys know, it's about the team and how they're going to mesh. You know, you can't have selfishness. You can't have guys that have their own agendas. And that's the concern with every coach in the country when you have a whole new team, you know, for 1 year. You're trying to build chemistry. You know, the kids are trying to get used to each other, how each other plays. If you look at basketball, the best teams are the teams that grow from year in and year out, you know, and so they're here for their freshman and sophomore, and then their junior and senior year, they become really good players in a team because they know each other. And so it's the assistants have done a terrific job of bringing in these players that we have. And now it's my job is to try to bring them together and play together. And I think we have good players, but now it's, you know, you need a good team and you need guys that can accept their roles and you know, play for the betterment of the team. So that's the challenge. And that was the challenge last year, you know, and sometimes we played together. And as you guys know, sometimes we didn't, you know, so when we play together, and if we can get this team to play together to realize it's, you know, it's the sum of the parts, you know, everybody is going to have their day in the sun and they can accept that, then I think we have the talent to be competitive in our league. And, you know, if you're competitive in our league, you never know, you know, you could have a great year.
Mark,
Hey, Sean, you guys talked about the growth in the 6-man membership and the dollars raised earlier on. Those dollars raised, was that specific to just the 6-man club, or was it in combination with Boulder Bonaventure and all that other kind of stuff? And, you know, looking forward, where's the greatest need and where do you need to get to this year?
Steve, do you want to touch or you want me to handle it?
Sure, Matt. Matt, that was those dollars that we referenced earlier, strictly 6-man club dollars.
Okay.
There was
That's
not
fantastic.
you referenced Boulder Bonaventure, you know, 6-man club dollars count towards the numbers you see reported for the Boulder Bonaventure campaign, but you have to make the distinction between 6-man club, BAF, which are annual operating support dollars, and then capital projects. So all of our facility projects that we're raising for, so separate buckets,
Yeah.
and separate accounting lines. What was the second part of your question?
But they're saying, you know, 859, that's a fantastic number just for 6-man. Then where do you want to get? I'm sure the sky's the limit, but where do you want to get to this year?
Working on the number, I would say, you know, if to put a number out there, it's going to be pushing for $1 million. You know, why not? We're knocking on the door already. That's a lot to ask, though. That's a lot to ask. Just we want to see continued steady growth like this.
And sorry, last part of that is that was 1 year's worth of commitments, or, you know, 859 operating dollars for last year, or was that commitments over time?
That was all money raised and brought in last fiscal
last year, correct. Yeah, and there's a groundswell of individuals, Mark, that want to congratulate the most successful Schmidt, Nick Schmidt, on his recent coaching assignment.
Well,
Yeah, he's all excited. He was at Putnam Science for 3 years, and Phil Martelli Jr., Phil's son, is the head coach at Bryant University that plays in the America East, with Vermont and Albany. And so he got an assistant's job there. He started last Monday. So yeah, proud. He's excited. So I'm not sure if he wants to get into this. When he first started, and Mike, who's my grad assistant, he wants to do the same thing. And I'm like, are you guys sure? It's because the business is going off the rails a little bit. But the thing is, with the young guys, this is all they know. Like, they didn't know, how recruiting was back in the day. This is ordinary to them, so it's not an adjustment for the young guys. It's just an adjustment for guys that look like me.
Well, good things happen to good people, and he's a great one.
Thanks.
Anything else? All right, well, there's going to be a lot of excitement coming down the pike, obviously, and meeting the new team and see them hit the floor. Obviously, we don't want summer to go too quick and fast forward into the fall, but there's a lot of exciting things. The university had a record number of deposits. Hopefully that's going to transfer out to a record class coming in, which we're hopeful that it will be. So a lot of good things happen at the university. Looking forward to getting Bob Beretta on board here. He'll be coming in later in the month, officially starting in late July. So he'll be coming on, and we'll obviously tee him up with you guys and get him in front of you. If many of you, I imagine, have already heard from him. But we obviously look forward to what's coming in a few short months. And like I said, if people could let me know if they have any intentions on entertaining coming down to Disney in November, that would help in our pre-planning a little bit at this point to just get a rough idea whether we're going to have a population down there or not. So that would assist immensely. Steve, anything from your end?
No, yes, I would say, just a reminder, we will have details on the Mohegan Sun event, as Sean mentioned earlier. Just to wrap that up and remind everybody, just stay tuned as we work the details out with Mohegan Sun. So we'll get that to you, as we get them.
Last chance. Any other questions? All right. Well, it sounds like we're done.
Thanks, guys, for your support. Much appreciated. Thanks.
Go Bonnies.
Go
Thanks
Bonnies.
for the presentation.
Go Bonnies.
Thanks, everybody.